Okay, it's 3:31, guys. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. We get a review of the minutes of October 6th. Any comments or revisions?
No, I move to accept.
Okay, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Matt, you wanna give your report?
Okay, the first thing is Jim Baker asked a question last month about mothballing the salvage oil burners, and the answer is we don't have to do anything with them. However, we are storing them in a climate control facility, so they're in heat and air conditioning. Okay.
Great.
The next item here is Tom's Big Three. Okay. Tom's Big Three: auditorium, the running track surface, and wireless upgrade. Okay, so these are three things that we're going to be discussing.
So under the CIP plan?
Well,
The reason why I put them on as Tom's Big Three is because I put them in my budget presentation as items that aren't included in the budget, but are very great concern. So we just figured we should talk about them at, it's facilities, so we should always talk about them if they're that concerning. We should talk about them here. So,
Okay, and they are in the CIP plan,
Yes.
so I'm trying to get mine to open.
Your CIP plan?
Yeah,
Okay. Actually, what I was hoping to do is just kind of finish off the talk of the CIP plan, talk about scheduling times when we can do walkthroughs of the facilities. And Dan Doyle's coming shortly, and see if we can do a walkthrough of this facility. So you guys can see the items that are in the plan.
okay.
Okay.
oh, and for goodness sakes, will you please show them, well, except for Jamie, where that window is upstairs off the science wing? Because I fielded like 4 questions.
Yeah, we're gonna do the greenhouse.
People still think that the greenhouse windows that we put in the budget are the greenhouse. They're not the greenhouse. They're the greenhouse windows. They're the style of window, like built like a greenhouse, that are off the science wing,
Okay,
off a science classroom.
so I have a feeling there's a lot to cover in this meeting, so I'm gonna go really fast through all of this stuff.
Okay.
So stop me if you have any questions, okay?
Yep.
The first one is the Bakey boilers. Both of them are operational. However, one of them has gone down because we're having teething problems with it. The new burner on that has failed, and they're trying to expedite parts to it. So we're down to one boiler.
You can't win with that building. It's
No, the
Did they
biggest,
give you any kind of timeline on that?
Yeah, great.
yeah, it's like every other thing. It's gonna be when they can manufacture it and send it to us.
They have to make it, they don't have anything.
Yeah.
That's under warranty, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so Bakey sewer. Okay, so if you recall that there's 2 septic pumps that failed, no, 1 septic pump that failed. And so basically all the sewage comes into a holding tank, and then all the water gets pumped out into the leach field. And so there's 2 pumps that do that. Each of the pumps are over 30 years old. One of them has failed, and the impeller on the pump is pretty much ground down, so it's unusable. We're also assuming that the remaining pump is in the same condition. Now, we obtained a quote to repair the pumps. It's over $20,000 a piece. We were asked to obtain additional quotes, and through this process, we found other items that need to be repaired, such as the electrical panel has some water damage to it. So basically, there's an electrical panel that's in a little box that under the ground, and water collected in it and covered the panel. So we need to do some repairs on that. Okay. So also to bring the pumps up to code, we need to install a kill switch in the coffer where the electrical panel is, so that anyone can turn off the pumps outside. Okay. So right now, we can't find any vendors who can supply the pumps. So our worst case scenario, just in case the last one can fail, it does fail, is that we have to pump the tanks, and it will be every other day to once a week.
And what's the cost of that?
We don't know.
How many gallons in a tank?
3,500.
I think they're bigger than that. I think they're 5,000 gallon tanks.
Okay.
So your average 1250 runs you about 250, 300.
Yeah.
Bob's, which is Matt Delance, sold it to Danaher, right? Use my name and see if you can get a discount.
All right.
Micah Danaher is
We
the owner.
use Bob's and Dave's.
Well, Bob is a long story, but anyway, if that doesn't work, call Exeter Septic and use my name. I mean, I used to be the health officer. They all know me. Everybody kind of owes me a few favors here and there. And I kind of, yeah, okay. So
So-
I had no problem using that.
Follow up on this. So who's working on getting the pumps and what's involved, what's the process?
So Dan's working on it, okay,
Okay.
and right now, the process is, we've had 2 people look at it to give us quotes. Three, okay, and, so it's gonna be, when you wanna make a decision, we can make a decision like,
So Sturgeon Creek out of Maine is one of the companies, United Compressors, another one out of Plastow. And the third one slips on my mind, out of Amesbury, but they do a lot of these pump systems. And they're all supposed to rally back to me, hopefully by the end of this week, as far as getting pumps and getting them in place.
Okay, and pricing?
And pricing,
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
okay. All right, so for the playgrounds, all the playgrounds have wood chips and, or brand new wood chips, and everything is great.
Okay, great.
Okay. We're still assessing, we're still trying to figure out, we need to do an RFQ to hire professional engineering services so we can determine whether the building can withstand the electrical capacity for our window air conditioning units. So I'm gonna be, after the budget cycle, I'm gonna be bringing an RFP to this committee, and we're gonna be doing it like we did with the architects.
And how about Chase Field?
That's down on my list.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's see, we're working towards repairing the concrete dock at the and the steps at Beaky, but at this point in time, I think it's gonna be a next summer project. Let's see, Memorial, the heat pumps, we're replacing compressors almost every other month now. The system is beyond end of life. We're also considering turning on the oil-fired burners to augment the heat pumps to reduce electricity costs. So we're seeing the electricity costs ramp up in the winter, which is what you would expect with a heat pump system. But what we're thinking is in the mornings, we can bring the building temperature up with the boilers faster than the heat pumps can do it, and more efficiently, okay?
So Matt, when were these installed?
They were installed, I want to say 20+ years ago.
I don't know about that, yeah, we're getting close to that.
Yeah. Okay, so at the high school, the greenhouse windows, we hired Fremont Glass to caulk the greenhouse windows, and they're still leaking. The problem with the glass is at the top, it's designed for a vertical window, but it's laying flat like this, and the water's pooling on top of the window. Okay, and then so it's leaking through the seals. So after.
So the caulking's done?
The caulking has been done, okay, but it's still leaking.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I want to try to do a walkthrough, and we're gonna go through this greenhouse, okay? We also haven't moved forward in the high school roofing and siding issues, and actually I want to show you the siding issues through the walkthrough, which means we might have to go out onto the roof.
Yes.
The
Right roof.
And then also
We've done that before.
the retaining wall and the loading dock. I want to show you all the deterioration on the loading dock as well, okay?
Yeah.
General facilities, Chase Field, the baseball repairs, we're meeting a contractor tomorrow.
7:30 tomorrow morning. I got a local guy that is interested in doing the work.
Oh, great.
Okay. The other one that we had is just having problems trying to schedule the time. We also have a second one that we contacted, and they were having problems trying to find the loan mix for the infield, but Dan's got a line on that, okay? So we haven't moved forward on the seminary roof flashing. We're also taking quotes to repair the old middle school roof over the cafeteria kitchen. It's not leaking, but it's beyond the end of lifespan. So there's gonna be more to come on that when we start digging into that.
So when was that put up?
I'm sorry?
When was that put up?
When was that?
That you're saying is the end of life. How long has it been?
Basically what's happening is the roof shingles are cupping. Okay, so at that point, the roof is starting to fail.
What location over the middle school?
old middle
roof?
school.
Where?
Over the calf kitchen.
The old middle school kitchen.
So if you go to the old middle school, go to the far left. Okay. And it's on the corner closest to the parking lot.
Far left from the front door? Or?
Yes,
Okay. So how many square feet is that roughly? Any idea?
I don't know, it's like from me to Dan and probably as
It's
wide.
probably not any more than Probably 10 squares, actually.
Okay.
It's not very big.
Let's see, we're also considering conducting a survey around our Ford Memorial and the old middle school property. We've been talking internally about trying to utilize the back half of the building. And one of the thoughts that we had is maybe we need to put in a fire loop around the back half of the building. Okay, so I need to know where the property line is, all right?
So, good question. I thought that we had said that there's no way to do that without spending $3 million. To utilize that back part of the middle school.
$3 million?
Right, so.
To make it into classrooms.
Yeah, Mr. Ambrose posted something saying, in response.
Wait, that's not,
$3 million.
That's to make it into classrooms.
no, let's just, hold on. I have to look at what I posted because I can't remember, I'm not prepared to discuss that, but there's two levels of using the old middle school. One is taking it back from the SLC, which is not an option. And then taking everything that they did in that building to make it work for them and ripping it out because they divided classrooms up. And then taking the building back over. That is very expensive.
That would be very, yes.
The back half of the building needs a lot of repairs and improvements to be effective. And if you were to run a program out of the back half of the building, such as pre-K, which has been asked, you'd have to have administration, staffing, nursing, you'd have to basically create a miniature school. So there's a difference between taking the building back and just using the back half. I didn't know that we were looking at anything for a fire access out back
No,
there.
I'm just.
Without a
No,
program or a use.
We're not doing anything to that
Okay.
property, but
It
yeah,
seems like we're
No,
putting
I'm-
the cart before the horse.
I'm just throwing this thing out because I've been talking about surveying the property, because before we even consider discussing any of these programs, we need to know where the boundary line is so that we can figure out anything that we do to the building.
how much does it cost to survey it?
Well, for the seminary property, it was just $7,000.
Just $7,000 for something we don't.
I
would say-
wouldn't bother with surveying that. I don't have any plans to
Okay.
propose using that building at all. I say strike that.
All right,
Yeah.
Thank you.
all right. The other thing too is the Swayze gym entrance. Some of the door areas are rotting out and we need to do some repairs and replacements there. We're right now considering options. Okay. Let's see, equipment. We have a Ford F-350 truck that we've ordered. There's no change since our last meeting. We're still hopeful to receive it in January 2022. The next thing is the truck that we're replacing. Right now, we're going to be using it as a yard truck until the new truck comes in. When that new truck comes in, we're going to be surplusing it with the state of New Hampshire surplus property. So it's going to go at the auction. Okay. We also have a large Toro Tractor that's used primarily as a snow blower. So it looks like one of those big mowers. It's an enormous mower, okay, but it's only used for snow blowing. And it's older than this building and it's past its useful life. Right now, we're in discussions about what to do with it, and it sits idle during the summer, okay? We'd rather have a piece of equipment that we can use multi-purpose throughout the entire year, okay? So right now, we're just going through several iterations of what those kinds of vehicles are. And so we're gonna have more to you when we get a consensus of what kind of vehicle we need and the cost.
When you say it breaks down often, what does that mean?
Um,
So we're using it 6 months a year,
yes,
roughly.
so let's go see it. And when you see it, it's gonna be sitting on a flat tire. And it looks really tired.
What would you
Okay.
use it, what would you use the other replacement equipment for the other 6 months?
Well, and that's, okay, some of the things that we've been looking at are a side-by-side that has a snowplow on it. We've also been looking at a Bobcat that looks like a side-by-side that has a snow blower in the front of it. So we have different types of vehicles that we want to use. So it's a snow blower in the winter,
Yeah.
but it also could be a vehicle that we could use to move stuff around in the summer and the fall. Okay.
When you say
You want
move
a
stuff
bucket on the
around,
front.
does it have a crane on it or something, or just a flatbed?
On the back, it would be like a little truck. Okay, this is right now some of the things that we've been talking about.
So you're
But we're not
talking
even
about a
like-
snowplow,
Huh?
a snowplow, a truck with a snowplow.
Well, it'd be like a little vehicle. Right now, we have a vehicle that is a snow blower.
Right.
Okay, I'd almost rather have a snow blower.
You have to
Okay?
do sidewalks and all that?
It's just for sidewalks.
Okay.
Okay,
But you might look at, I mean, only because I've done this, if you're gonna get a tractor snow blower, you want a bucket and maybe even a backhoe. You know,
yeah,
just a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the little pop one that you can just. move
Yeah,
the snow
I mean,
in.
because I mean, it's gonna be one of those things, oh, I don't think I'll need it, but once you got it, it's like, oh,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what I got.
way
You
faster.
know,
okay,
Yeah, I mean, what are they gonna charge you? Another $2,500?
all right, so,
Basic tractor.
Yeah, you know.
all right, so over at Swayze Gym, we also have exercise equipment from when we had the seminary property. We've tried to give the equipment away, okay? Nobody wants it. All right, so we're going to recycle it,
And what's
Sell the scrap, you mean?
sell it for scrap metal.
Okay.
Or just bring it down 111.
Have you tried putting it on Facebook Marketplace? I'm serious.
I don't know
Yeah.
if I'd want to put that old equipment out there coming from the school district.
All right,
Liability.
Yeah,
okay.
Now, I just a suggestion, I don't know, but the town has a big scrap metal place and they just got rid of it because they brought in a scrapper. You know, these guys with these pickup trucks and they wouldn't have to take it,
So
so.
we have a vendor down in Amesbury.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, because you got a scrap.
And it's clean metal. so
Yeah, that's right,
$5
yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
What type of equipment?
weightlifting sets.
Plates, steel plates, Nautilus, equipment, bench presses, a treadmill.
We have called fire departments, police departments. Nobody wants it because of its age.
Dead weights are dead weights, it doesn't really matter.
Find anybody, I got a set of
Rubber
weights
plates
too,
now,
but
so it's
wouldn't have to
So,
throw mine in there too.
Well, I can consider just like opening it up and just say, come and get it.
Well, that would be, just remember, we have to go through the policy of disposal of.
And we'll get pretty good money for the scrap metal since it's clean.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
Sure, yeah, there's nothing to strip.
Any,
It's,
any idea how much?
steel's at a high right now, but I don't know what it's going for.
So that's better than giving it away.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
okay. And then we need to discuss our CIP plan and scheduled dates of each of the facilities. So that's my report. Thank
Do we
you.
have anything in the CIP plan for us buying new equipment for ourselves after we scrap this?
No. No, we have what we need in fitness equipment in that fitness room, and we can walk through that.
Part of this is the consolidation, Jamie. There was fitness equipment at the old middle school. And the new equipment in the current
A lot of it,
gym is.
a lot of it's from the old seminary.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
when
it's
they
the
built this
seminary.
building,
Oh,
they
it's
have
that
all
old.
brand new
Wow.
equipment.
You never threw that out.
Oh,
They
oh,
never-
you have no idea, like, the amount of stuff that was in that seminary building was mind boggling. I won't even sugarcoat it for anyone. I was, you know, some people say figuratively that they were shocked. It's not a figure. I was shocked. Just like a sea of desks, chairs, and we've been disposing of things per the policy and handling it, but basically, people just kept storing old things and not going through the process of getting rid of them for a long time.
So it's like the attic and the basement of a hoarder.
Yeah, in a weird way. Yeah, just they had the space to put the stuff, so why throw, it's the classic, you might need it later. Don't get rid of it, we've got a place to store it, why get rid of it? I mean, it made sense probably at one point.
It's like my tool shed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Ready for the trust and revolving funds?
Yep.
Okay, so these
You guys
are,
all set? Yep. Okay.
so these are as of October 31st. So the Special Education Expendable Trust Fund has $241,205. The Capital Improvement and Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund has $273,067, and we transferred in $50,000 into it in the month of October, as per an annual town meeting. I'm sorry, the district meeting of last March. The unanticipated educational expenses capital reserve fund. This one, we also moved in $50,000, and the balance is now $200,220.13. And then finally, the facility use revolving fund. This one here, this is where the rental for SLC goes into. We received $11,666 a month. We paid $6,547 for a backup tape for IT, and then $12,862 for accounting software, leaving a balance in the fund for $166,343.62.
So if you add the use of fund balance to that, we're up over $1.3 million, right? In
Well,
terms
the
of-
contingency fund,
Yeah,
yes, because that's like 540,
45, I think.
yeah.
Can I just say, that's, when I was hired, that was very low.
Yeah,
Thank you. That makes me feel safer making decisions to bring budgets in. We've been tightening things up and being careful, but that, to me, that it makes it safer for us to be conservative about spending or to make a tighter budget. And then if there's a problem, have somewhere to fall. So
Yeah.
remember when I was hired, I said about 3 to 4% is what you want. We're exactly
well,
right
we're
there.
talking about, originally, we were talking about $1.5 million,
Yeah.
and we're getting close.
We are, and we're doing,
Yeah.
that's something for the public to know that we've worked hard on while still returning money each year at the end of the year.
Well, I think given what we're looking at, we've talked about this in the budget discussions, we need to look at also reserves when we talk warrant articles this year for the ballots. Because you not only have these, you also have risks that are out there in terms of inflationary period as to whether or not we have enough coverage for what might be going on inflation wise.
Especially with the POC with electric, right? It's the POC, right? Is that what it's called? The board that,
I'm sorry.
it's New Hampshire terms,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
PUC.
PUC. Electric may go up 10 cents a kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
And it's scary,
Per kilowatt,
from 7 cents to 17.
per kilowatt.
Yeah, Matt can forward you the information he has it.
The Unitil just had their default rate increase to 17.5 cents per kilowatt hour.
So that's over 100, that's like 140% increase.
Well, they're in their order, it says it's over a 60% increase.
So those ways,
If you're going
those
to
rates,
7 to 10,
right, so
7
those are
to
residential
14 would
rates.
be 100.
Well, the
Those
commercial
are
rates-
residential rates.
But the commercial rate is still over 17 cents per kilowatt hour
Right,
in
well,
that same order.
I think what I saw in it was that their estimation for commercial usage was a 60 to 63% increase.
Okay.
Which is still not, it's no small shakes.
Do schools get a better rate than the commercial rate?
No, we actually go out and get, we bid out our electric rates,
Okay.
okay? I'm gonna try to pull up the order. Or we can do it.
Yeah, if you don't, it doesn't, we don't need to do it now if you don't.
Here's the order. So for residential, it's gonna be 17.518 cents per kilowatt hour. And for commercial, see, commercial is gonna be an increase of 61.3%.
Does that take effect? Any idea?
It's gonna go into effect December 1st,
2023.
today.
Oh, 2023.
No, that was 2023.
It is.
Or is that when our current deal
This
goes out?
order authorized Unitil to recover costs of power supply through energy rates effective with service rendered on or after December 1st, 2021.
But we have locked in.
Time to buy an electric car.
2023, that's what I'm thinking.
We're locked in until next November.
Good.
So we're gonna be
22 then, November
22.
22.
So we're gonna
Gasoline
be-
model cars are looking better.
Yeah, lots of people forget is, okay, the electricity has to come from somewhere. It just doesn't grow on trees.
Where do you?
You mean the windmills aren't enough?
All right, so can I jump over scheduling dates for facility walkthroughs and go through the elevator control quotes?
Sure.
Okay, so we discussed the elevator control quotes at the finance committee meeting.
Right.
I just want to make everyone aware. The first quote, this is to lock out the elevator so that there's no damage to it. So A&B Lock is going to put the control on the outside of the elevator for $2,856. And then we also have to have Otis Elevator there at $395 an hour, just because we're in an elevator space.
I got a question about that previous quote, though. They've got, was it 14 hours in there as an estimate?
Jim's like, I'll get out my, my Sawzall and
14 hours, are they gonna stay over?
2 days work.
Or is that like two guys, or?
It's probably like two guys.
Two
How
guys
is
in
it
1 day.
possible it's gonna take 14 hours to install, or 7 hours to install that electrical?
They're probably charging travel time.
Well, cable runs also gotta be run to the mainframe also, since it's.
Oh, that's right, it would have to be run to the mainframe.
So what, through the ceiling or
Yeah,
something?
through the ceiling.
Oh,
from
so you
the
have to
elevator
snake it
room
through
to-
there?
It's unbelievable in this day and age that you can't do that wirelessly, but
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I can see why it's hardwired. I don't agree with it, but I understand it.
Boy, and Otis is doing pretty well too, aren't they?
Yeah.
What do you think they pay that guy who's gonna do the work?
10 bucks an hour.
Well, the kids, Otis probably isn't gonna do anything, they're just gonna stand there. and wait.
Right. They say they're gonna connect it to their electrical. In the quote, that's what they said.
Yeah, 2 wires.
Yeah. So there was something else attached to that previous quote about
You can do that for
air
us.
circulation.
You can't touch it. It's
No,
Otis.
They right there
I'm
Right.
for like some crazy amount of money.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put an air purifier in
Okay,
there,
that's
okay?
that's just something they were throwing out there.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Okay.
What, in the elevator?
Yeah, putting.
Yeah,
in
no
air-
way. It's a 2-second ride. I'm not, it's 1 floor.
Yeah. Okay. I do have the CIP plan here in the, as a discussion in the meeting. Would it be more beneficial if we just started walking around the building with the CIP plan and start looking at stuff?
I've got one thing I want to ask about before we start looking at stuff.
And I have a meeting in here at 4:30.
Okay.
But you
So
can
we gotta,
walk.
we gotta move it quick.
You do, but I'm just saying I may not stay with you while you're walking.
Well, I didn't realize, but I know these meetings usually only run about a half hour.
Well, it's
So I have
just,
an appointment at 4:30.
Okay.
it's almost 4 now, so we've got half an hour. So you, under the administration section, it's down at toward the bottom.
It's always us.
It's the furniture.
Yes.
You're proposing spending $1.5 million in 6 years. on
Well,
furniture.
okay. Now, just remember, this is just a plan, okay? And what the plan doesn't necessarily make it to the budget, okay? When I developed this back in August, early September, okay? The only amount that's made it through the superintendent's, to the superintendent's budget is $50,000. Okay, so this is a prime example of when I say this is just a plan, it is not a roadmap to increase taxes.
Yeah, but plans should be based on what's possible, not just, fanciful something or
There's a
other.
lot of things in there. We mentioned this when the plan was
Yeah,
updated. There's
yeah.
all kinds of wish lists in this plan. We had started with these are the things that we need to do, and the plan now includes a lot of wish lists, so it was modified.
Okay, so we're
I
gonna have to
can't-
circle back.
It
to
hasn't
this.
been modified since I first sent it out.
It came out in September, October, and there's a
Right.
bunch of things on it.
Right.
That were different than what was on it prior to it being revised
Oh.
in September,
Okay.
August, September.
Okay.
timeframe.
I want to be clear what this is. This is a document for consideration for the development of the strategic plan. None of it gets adopted without board approval. Happy to talk about it, but this plan is not here for you to approve and send to the board and say, this is what we recommend.
I'm just giving you I'm giving you my feedback.
And I'm good with it. I'm good. I'm saying, this is, let me just finish.
Yeah.
Jim's feedback is 250 grand a year isn't really gonna work budget wise.
Right,
Because it's not really 1.25 million all at once.
no.
It's
over
250 a
6 years.
year, but when you look at what it costs to refurbish, and before we discuss, we need to do the walkthroughs and then discuss what the issues are. And we can discuss what you all are comfortable with when you make recommendations or talk to the board.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the document of the strategic plan has to be approved by the school board. And that will include whatever we end up with in here. This is nowhere near done.
Yeah,
This is a wish list.
Right.
This is a list of things that we think we need to do and things that we think should be done, and there may be room for discussion about what should be done. Right? So,
I'd like to hear a lot more about why that's,
Yeah, I certainly don't support that kind of money.
Yeah.
oh, yeah, and I don't even know if those estimates are legitimate.
right,
Like, it might be that we do 50 grand a year. Right? But Jim, buying furniture for schools that are, like, this building right now looks good. Like, this furniture in this room is still okay. It's amazing. In 4 years, it'll be 20 years old. So you have to have a plan. If we don't have a plan, a replacement plan for things that have daily wear, we end up with a mess. So all we're trying to say is,
with that.
yeah,
What I've got a problem with is some designer concept where all these interchangeable parts.
Yeah.
When 90% of it is still good.
right, right. Yeah, and I want you to hear that we're fine with that.
Okay.
We're just simply saying to you, these are the things that we need to talk about. And ultimately, the final say is in the board,
Yeah,
right? You guys vote on what goes in this plan and what doesn't.
right.
And we're just saying to you, these are the things that we think need to be discussed.
Okay.
I don't even know that I agree with 250 grand a year myself. I think that's high.
That's gonna give you a budget that's not supportable.
Well, yeah, but I think that depends. So the question is, do we put in the plan enough to do one grade level a year for 5 years? And what would that be roughly because of inflation and other, you can't really tell what it'll cost. And
Well, that's kind of what I'm asking,
yeah, we need to do more work on it.
right?
We also have a history, as was just testified to a minute ago, of buying a bunch of furniture, and then when the other furniture was deemed, well, that's just too good to not keep, because we just bought more furniture than we wanted it.
Not disagreeing with that. That's
Yeah.
been a big, but the thing I'm worried about is that I'm getting to the point where, as frustrating as it has been to be the leader of any school district during this pandemic, there's a point where I have to think about what the legacy is of the work in this district. And the past legacy that I was handed when I walked through the door was capital needs were not taken care of. They were left to become a crisis, except for this building.
Well, because this building was new,
Right,
okay? They had an agenda to build a new high school.
Yeah.
Right, and the example I use, in 1987, I walked into my classroom, and the casements were cracked. I mean, they were just, you could just pick them up, right? Every summer, I wrote down, right? When I walked out of that building, 15 years later, the casements were still cracked. They intentionally did not do anything. All right,
That's the seminar,
yeah,
that's Seminary campus.
right?
I was in science, all right? So they had an agenda to build the school, build it and they will come, all right? I personally was so against this high school, not a high school, but in 1968, when they built that seminary, they promised the people that if they ever had to expand, they would go down from like where my classroom was, which is.
right, just run it right out.
Yeah, straight down.
Yeah, that's a crime what happened to that science.
And I gotta tell you, to Mark Furlong's credit, when I brought that up, he said, Peter's right, that's exactly what we promised the people.
Mhm.
But they wanted to build a new high school, end of subject, don't talk about anything else. And they drove me nuts, right? But, I mean, they went so far as to say, instead of the kids walking to the seminary building, they wanted to put in a walkway overhead. And then they added that to the cost of what it would cost versus just build a new high school for $30 million.
So that's an absurd example of unbelievably.
You want an absurd example?
Yeah.
Go outside and look at the hallway going down to the gym.
Yeah.
At $300 a square foot.
Yeah.
How wide is that compared to what it could be?
Right,
All right,
Or-
and
so-
vaulted ceilings.
but to get
Yeah.
back to this,
Yeah.
though, it's like, when I ran for school board, there was a proposal to spend $4 million on the middle school.
Yeah, when I got here, we shelved that.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So
I remember that.
I'm not against something that's reasonable,
Yeah,
but $1.5 million in 6 years for furniture, that's got to be a plan that's really well.
vetted
thought
out. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
absolutely, we don't want to do what Pete was describing.
right.
But we don't want to have a $4 million improvement based on nothing.
No, I agree with you, Jim, and I just want everyone to hear and for the public to hear who watched this meeting later.
Right,
There's a lot more conversations. What we're trying to say is, I don't care if you make those all $1.
yeah.
It doesn't matter to me. That's just
Well, I wouldn't want to make $1. I'd say to be determined.
that's fine too. I don't care what it is, because we need to do it based on, we're saying, hey, it's like everything I've been doing lately. I feel like I'm constantly saying, this might come up. This is the future. This is what we need to be thinking about, because I'm thinking about the condition this place will be in 5 years.
Yep.
Right? And I want to make sure that our kids come to school and have reasonably adequate furniture. It does not need to be the Cadillac, but it also, if you buy too inexpensively, we all know what happens with items that get everyday intense use. They wear out faster. So it's that balance, and that's what we have to find. And we put 50,000 in the budget this year to help Bakey out. Bakey is an older building. I'm just afraid of the big three that we talked about. So the track, if we don't deal with the track, that's fine. Lane 1 cannot be used right now.
And that's in the strategic plan.
It is, but I'm bringing it up now because I want you guys to know that it's 75,000 to recoat the track. It's 250 to 400 if you, underneath, because there's like a material that lays on the track. It's not quite rubber, and you could probably speak to it more than me. I've worked in a district where they didn't deal with this, and it cost them 400 grand because the concrete or the tar under the track started to crack. They had to grind the whole thing up. They actually come in and grind it up, and then they reuse that as the base, and then they redo the whole thing, and it's,
So Tom, we're gonna run out of daylight.
oh, I'm sorry.
So you wanna do the tour? Or
Yeah, I think you guys
wanna
should,
do that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd want to do the tour on all these things.
Yeah.
and that's awesome.
One thing that wasn't said is our priorities. The priority that we have is the academic growth and achievement of the students, in my mind, is a far higher priority for spending than the seat they're sitting on.
Right.
Right, exactly. So where do we put the money?
But make sure you get school approved stuff. My classroom was a prime example.
Yeah.
They bought stuff that was good in a laboratory, okay, in a private corporation.
So
Well, once the kids got in there and realized what they could take apart and pull out and take home.
I'm gonna adjourn the meeting and we're going on a field trip.
All right, and then,
You're in here at 4:30, so I'm gonna move my junk out.
yeah, that's cool. That's fine, Jamie. Yeah,